I was too young to notice the initial changes. Dad started to stay out later and mumble about something called initiate, but I didn't understand. I couldn't have. Every night, Dad came home, removing his uniform one piece at a time. He always looked so tired, but when his eyes met me, they would light up. I would run towards him, jumping into his arms, giggling and smiling.
Don't worry about a thing, Jeremiah. I'm gonna keep the bad guys as far away from you as possible.
That's right! There were nights when he came home, looking so tired. I never realized just how bad it was. I remember one night he came in with deep, dark bags under his eyes. He'd lost some weight, and at some point, he'd stop smiling.
Jeremiah, promise me you'll stay as far away from Initiate as possible, okay?
Okay, Dad. After Dad died, things fell apart. Mom took a second job, but the bills kept coming. I had to do something to help. Sadly, it seemed that the game my father hated so much was going to become my saving grace. One day, Mom stood at the head of the stove, stirring a sizzling pan of food. My sister sat at the table doing some last-minute homework. I hurriedly entered, my bag haphazardly tossed over my shoulder. I grabbed the biscuit before heading for the front door.
Heading out already?
Yeah, big meetup down the street. If I hurry, I can make it.
All right. Don't forget your coat. It's chilly out.
Alright, see you later, Ma.
I love you.
You too. I shoved the biscuit in my mouth and pulled my backpack on quickly. I kicked the door behind me on my way out, and it slammed shut.
You forgot your coat.
Rather than taking the stairs, I chose instead to slide down the handrail, landing on the sidewalk a bit sloppily. Taking a bite of my biscuit, I started running down the busy city sidewalk. Everywhere I looked, there were cars and people dressed for work, walking down the street with an air of dignity about themselves, choosing to make an honest day's work rather than getting involved with the dirty dealings of Initiate. The meeting was supposedly being held in a drainage ditch on the outside of town, near a bridge where a few supposed homeless people had congregated. It was so rare to see a homeless person nowadays. With the creation of Initiate, everyone had a viable source of income. Now even those who had once been deemed unhirable now had a chance at earning income. The only people who were homeless were those who sucked at Initiate. As I approached, I could hear the sounds of battle. From the noise, I'd say there were around 20 to 30 people gathered. Perfect. Taking down a group like that could earn me a pretty penny.
Oh, what a waste. I came out all this way and all I get is a bunch of newbies? Ugh, come on.
How about you take me on for size? At the sound of my voice, the man whipped his head around, a shocked expression on his face. Pfft, he probably wasn't expecting to hear someone so boldly challenge him. He had a yellow bandana around his neck, a symbol worn by one of the Initiate gangs in town. But I could tell he wasn't really a member. That gang, in particular, didn't come to this side of town. It was too close to the base of their rival gang.
Oh, you want to go, Runt? I'll be happy to pound your face into the pavement.
Ha! As if some loser like you could take me. Frustratedly, the goon held up his holo card, ready to start the game. Got him.
Initiate!
Initiate! I yelled as loudly as I could, proudly holding my holo card above my head. The crowd seemed to be loving it, as all other games had ceased. They were now all watching our match, cheering at the top of their lungs. No matter how many times I play, I will never get used to the feeling of the nanites as they walk down, transforming me into my avatar, Nightshade. I had chosen the Night class when I first started playing, meaning I got a suit of armor, a shitty shield, and a weak-ass sword. But now, after playing for so long, I managed to get everything up to level 5, and even get a few enchantments. My armor was now lighter, my sword sharper, and my shield stronger. The other guy was of the Berserker class. How fitting. He had little armor save for a bit on his shoulder, and from his elbow down. In each hand, he held a skinny axe, each at low level. From the looks of it, most of his stuff was barely above beginner. The best thing he had on him were his shoes, which were specifically enchanted to allow him to run faster. Nothing I couldn't handle.
Nightshade versus Nuclear 69. Ready? Initiate!
At the sound, he rushes towards me, swinging his axes blindly like a maniac. Anticipating this, I held up my shield to stop him. His axe is colliding with the metal, sending a loud vibration to the crowd. With the enchantment I'd purchased recently, I reduced the amount of vibration that actually went through my arm, reducing the pain. With a sidestep, I swung my sword at him, as he lost his balance. That's the problem with berserkers. They rely too much on blind fury and not enough on strategy. He was barely paying me any attention at all, so it was easy to trip him up.
Whoa!
He felt it was behind like a giant lug. Before he could get up, I rushed forward, hoping to plant my foot on his chest, but he was too fast and dodged my swift kick. Once on his feet, he rushed at me with both his axes raised, ready to deal one match-ending blow. But he wasn't paying enough attention. I slammed my sword right through his chest. There was no armor there to stop me, and both of his axes were preoccupied, so there was nothing he could do.
Nightshade wins!
As the crowd roared with applause, the neon crystalline blue nanites dissipated, leaving the two of us standing there just as we'd been where we began. There was no trace left of the hole I made in his chest. He was just fine, save for a humiliating ass-kicking. Above his head appeared a diamond blue holographic scoreboard, -50, while a similar +50 appeared over mine.
Just wait. I'm gonna come back with my gang, and we'll put you in your place, you little piece of crap.
Sure thing. And tell Wanda I said hi. His face went pale when he realized the implications of what I'd said. Wanda was the head of the Yellow Serpent gang, the very gang he was pretending to be a member of. Realizing he was caught, the man shuffled away with his tail between his legs. Other members of the crowd chose to challenge me after that, but they, much like the first guy, proved to be nothing more than target practice. One by one, I took them down, and sent them packing till there was no one left. All right, let's see how much I racked up. Pulling out my holo card, I went to check the balance as I went to walk back towards the house. But then I noticed a strange man looking at me. He was tall, with pure white hair and dirty-looking clothes. I wasn't sure how long he'd been standing there, but it seemed to me he was interested in something. You want a match too, Grandpa? What are you looking at, Pops?
A little brat with a big mouth. And you?
Some old fart that needs to mind his business.
I'm not old. My hair was this color when I was born. I was just watching you play. Nothing more, nothing less.
With that, the old man turned to walk away, heading up the concrete slope towards town. Hey, wait! Where are you going, anyways?
To town. I have places to be.
I followed behind him curiously, wanting to know more about the strange man.
Shouldn't you be in school?
Shouldn't you be at work?
I don't have a job. I'm homeless.
And I don't go to school. I found myself intrigued by the man. Why would someone like him be homeless? Surely he was in good health, he could at least get a job as a janitor, and if that didn't work out, he could just play initiate. There was no reason for him to be homeless.
Well, surely there's something else you could be doing instead of following me around.
There is, but this is more interesting. My name's Jeremiah, by the way.
Samael.
He didn't even turn to me when he said his name. He just kept looking ahead, his mind focused on whatever business he had in town. So Sam, what sort of business does a homeless man have in town? Going for a job application? Looking to play initiate? If so, you missed a good opportunity.
I don't play that filth. Clouds the mind, dulls the senses. And if you must know, I'm heading into town to do some laundry. Can't exactly keep a washing machine under a bridge.
That sounds boring.
Go home, kid. You've got your winnings. Now head home so you can waste it all.
Whatever, you old fart. Have fun doing your laundry or whatever. Shoving my hands in my pockets, I turned to head back towards my house. I wasn't about to follow that old coot just to watch him do his laundry. Maybe I'll check back in with him later, see if he's doing anything cool. Once my house was in sight, I pulled out my holo card to check the balance. I made $600 today from that meetup. That should be enough for food this week. Maybe some for the bills. But if we were going to make it through, I was going to have to go back out and do it all again. With Mom's salary, we should be able to pay rent this month, so maybe I could put some of the money towards paying the interest on our debt.
Welcome back, sweetie.
My mother was making dinner when I got home, still wearing part of her uniform from her job at the convenience store. It was late, and my sister was at the table doing her homework like the good little student she is. Without a word, I sat at the table, going through all the new upgrades I'd unlocked on my hollow pad.